Namaste, welcome to UPSC Senpai. Today we'll be talking about species in news, particularly the Caracal. Without any further delay, let us get into the topic itself. The first thing that you have to understand about Caracal is recently the National Board for Wildlife and Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has decided to include the Caracal under endangered species under its species recovery program. So, if you don't know, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, along with National Board of for Wildlife, the nodal agency here, has is always updating the list in terms of ensuring the species sustainability in our country. In that program, they have this scheme or a program called the Species Recovery Program, and in that they add animals or remove animals depending on the situation of the Namaste, welcome to UPSC Senpai. Today we'll be talking about a species in news, particularly the Caracal. So, if you don't know, recently the National Board for Wildlife and Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has decided to include the Caracal in the list of critically endangered species under the Species Recovery Program. If you don't know what a Caracal is a medium sized wildcat that is found in parts of Rajasthan and Gujarat. As I said, it is a medium sized cat. It is native to Africa, Middle East, Central Asia, South Asia, including India. And the surprising thing here is there is a dichotomy that exists here. The population of this cat has been increasing in other parts of the world except India. To simplify it, in India, the numbers have been decreasing drastically. That is why it is critically endangered and it has been placed under the species recovery program. While as the situation in Africa and other parts of the world, the population has gone up, which is a good thing in overall sustainability of the species, but a bad thing for India because it is a native habitat for this cat, India, particularly these two states, and the population is inversely decreasing compared to the global trend. So in India, it is called Siagosh. Siagosh is a Persian name that translates into black ear. Once you look at the picture, you'll understand why it is called the Siagosh and why the comparison or the name equated with a black ear. You can clearly see the distinctive feature there. In Sanskrit, there exists a fable about a small wildcat named Dirgakarn or long-eared. Again, look at the picture of the animal and you get why they named it as such because it has those physical features. As far as the food habitats are concerned, the Caracal is a clear carnivore. It typically preys upon small mammals, birds, rodents. Again, it is a carnivore. It is sustainable. It sustains on the hunt that it does. The significance here being the Caracal has traditionally been valued for its flexibility and its extraordinary agility to catch birds in flight. If you see one of the recent tweets by IFS officer, forgot his name, he talks about the agility of cats, particularly wild cats. Uh, like how a cheetah or a leopard has this ability to jump high fences. I think he shared a video also. Similarly, Caracal is also highly agile, highly flexible. It has the ability to hunt its prey while it's in flight. Like it's one of its food is a bird, not a bird, birds. So one of the way it hunts is it waits for the bird to fly over it and then it jumps in the sky and catches it mid-flight. Shows it how agile and flexible it has to be. So as I said, it is a carnivore. It depends on small mammals, birds, etc. Its significance is because of its agility, its flexibility to hunt birds in flight. Uh, it is a survivable. It is highly survivable, but there are human factors that has led to its decrease. Not only human factors, but also some other factors that has led to its decrease in numbers in our country. Particularly, let us look at what those are. As I said, one of the biggest factors why we are seeing an inverse trend in India when global trend is seeing an increase in number of Caracal. As I said, inverse India, we are seeing less and less and less and less of these cats in the wildlife. One of the biggest reasons or the culprit for the decrease in number of these cats is loss of habitat. Why is loss of habitat happening? one of the banes of modern society, urbanization. I'm not against urbanization. Development is the need of the hour, particularly in a country like ours where a huge population still is marginally lower compared to the global standards. But in there has to be a fine balance that has to be needle here or threaded here, however you put it. One of the biggest issues for the loss of habitat is increasing urbanization. What happens with increasing urbanization is when people tend to move out from inner parts of the city to outer parts of the city, nearby areas, as a city develops over a long period of time, people the government over a period of time starts to re-identify or re-notify forest lands into construction areas or cultivable areas for whatever for reason that, one, we need cultivation, the second, people need land to construct houses, construct buildings, and in forest lands you cannot do that. So the government over a period of time, every few years, goes through this cycle of denotifying forest land for human consumption through this is what urbanization translates to. So when the government denotifies 100 acres of land, that is 100 acres of a natural habitat for a group of animals lost. Do we do a very good job of reallocating a similar parcel of land for development of a forest area? Sometimes we do, and majority of times we do not do that in a proper way, or a rather scientific way. That is one of the reasons that we see natural habitats of animals diminishing day by day. It's not that we don't know what we are doing. It's that we know what we are doing, but the corrective action that needs to take place in order to balance the urbanization, or the balance the amount of urbanization that India is going through, uh, compared to the loss of habitats that we are seeing, is not taking place. To put it simply, the percentage of urbanization that we see does not equal to the percentage of afforestation or reforestation, or however you put it. We are not seeing that. That has to happen to counter this problem. So one of the primary examples is loss of habitat, increasing urbanization. One of the examples that we can look at is the Chambal ravines, which are Caracal's natural habitat, have been officially notified as wasteland. So this notification and denotification of forest areas or wetlands or ravines or whatever it is a general process. It happens everywhere around the world. But what we have to do as a nation is bring in a policy where the pace at which we denotify a forest area or a ravine or a grassland or a wetland uh, should go through a rigorous process of vetting, meaning whether we need to do it or not. What are the ecological implications of this? Yes, there are laws. India has a lot of laws. The problem comes down to implementation. That has to be said, whether we like it or not. We have enough laws. India doesn't have a dearth of laws. India has enough laws. The problem comes down to implementation of it. So one of the reasons that we are seeing an inverse trend in India when compared to the global trend of these animals increasing their population while India is decreasing their population, one of the best reasons is the loss of habitat due to urbanization. As I said, infrastructure projects such as building for roads lead to the fragmentation of Caracal's ecology and disruption of its movement. I don't need to explain that point further. I think it's as pretty clear as that. What tends to happen is, one, we build roads divide an ecology into sections. Humans, for convenience sake of humans, for humans it becomes easy, for animals it becomes hard, because they're animals and there are certain things that, look at how a tiger crosses the road, how skeptical it is. So it fragments the ecology, it fragments their ecology, it prevents them from free movement. The moment an ecosystem or a habitat gets fragmented, the area for these animals to roam freely and hunt their food source is goes down drastically. It's not that they can traverse from one fragmented area to other. There are empty number of challenges that they have to face, because When development happens, the focus of development is human centric, not ecosystem centric. So when you do that kind of development, your development model is entirely based on the needs of the humans, not on the environment that this urbanization or this development is taking place. Then you tend to forget to take into consideration of the other parts of the ecosystem, that is the animals, the flora, the fauna, what all that exists in the ecosystem. So that is the problem here. We tend to be more human centric when our urbanization or modern planning is done, and as a result, these kinds of fallout happens. I'm not blaming anything here, but that is what tends to generally happen. So infrastructure projects lead to fragmentation. The Caracal's ecology gets disrupted. As a result, movement is disrupted. So let us look at the conservation status of this animal in IUCN Red List. It is least concern but critically endangered in India. As I said, inverse to global trend is what we are seeing in India. According to CITES listing, Appendix 1 for Asian population and Appendix 2 for others. What are the protection status in India? According to Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, it is listed under Schedule 1. So these are the issues that we are seeing with Caracal. Hope this video has been helpful. Thank you. Namaste.